DC Sports, it's in the game. Hello, folks. We're doing the Sportsball, the video game, something I am absolutely an expert in and am totally qualified to talk about the intricacies of different sports organizations and their various licensing agreements that have made this whole genre possible.
Slash hell.
Like I really am interested to talk about this topic because there is a whole gamut of stuff to talk about. I think like sports games have such an interesting place in our culture. Like just to like kind of jump right off the deep end, it's like some of like the kind of still purest co-op action you have available. It's like I've got fond memories
the
of
number
playing.
one way to lose friends.
It's like the number one way to lose and gain friendships. Like 100%. You know, like it's like I played so many different, you know, sports games, you know, not being a real, you know, classic sports game enjoyer. I played so many of them like in college, right? That is like was like a core element to my college friends in our like relationships. It was so much just you know time, you know, just spent wasting time playing a game of NHL, of FIFA, you know.
I have 2K. Many college core memories that center around 2K.
Right. I remember one time there's like, I'm pretty sure they were athletes. I don't remember if they were football or basketball players, but I remember like walking past their dorm once and this was like in freshman, sophomore year when, you know, you're in the little fucking cubicle, not you didn't have like suites and or
the dorm
like
cell.
the level. Yeah, it's the dorm cell, literally. And they had this like 60-inch flat screen
time.
It was like they had this like 60-inch flat screen TV, like, you know, like obviously OLEDs weren't a thing at the time, but it was like wall. It was the nicest TV like I had ever seen. It takes up like 3/4 of their space, and they're just playing 2K all fucking day.
One of the roommates sleeps on the floor, so the TV has a space.
Yeah. The TV is like 3 inches from your face. So, you know, no matter where you are, the way
God intended,
it's always
absolutely.
So it's always like a 90-inch screen. It's like VR at that point.
I do think I was just thinking about this though, and I think sports games on their face, you know, people don't think of them politically, but I do think these are some of the most like politically intertwined games at like the broader level.
Are you saying that
2K24 is going to let you have a gay relationship with a fellow player?
Hell yeah!
So something that would see a real life player blacklisted and never be able to play a professional sport again.
Not entirely true.
Hey, yeah, the Denver Broncos.
Has to be the right player, like Jason Smith. He can come out.
Yeah,
but I would say more like, you know, having a gay relationship amongst two players on the same team. Yet. Never happened.
At least not publicly.
I wonder if that's
definitely
in the
happened.
Contract.
Not publicly.
I mean, Tim Duncan's wife accused him of having relations with a teammate because they played like World of Warcraft so often together.
He was emotionally cheating.
Sports and gaming have a, you know, say a really intermixed relationship. There's this classic photo that like nobody can actually source. I forget which basketball team it was. It was like after winning, like, you know, the championship, they're flying back. I don't know if it was a Lakers. For some reason, I feel like it was the Lakers, but
probably was. They won a lot.
They're on their private jet and they're playing, you know, a LAN party. You know, they're playing World. That was
the Spurs. It was the Spurs.
It was the Spurs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was Tim Duncan who, like, I think it was Tim Duncan was a big proponent of the '90s gaming culture in the NBA, but one of the more popular stories is Andrei Kirilenko, who like ruined his life with World of Warcraft.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he bankrupted himself with World of Warcraft or something like that.
Oh, no.
It was the '99 NBA championship Spurs. Yeah.
That you know why that one sticks out to me, because I'm a Knicks fan and we lost that championship.
But it's like it's this great picture. They're on their private jet. There's 4 of them sitting, you know, facing each other on a table. They've all got their chunky fucking laptops. all wired together, and then the championship trophy is just sitting on the floor, completely ignored. Completely ignored.
There's also a great photo of, I think it was rookie LeBron carrying a PlayStation 2 with him on a road trip.
Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say that.
People.
I'm glad you bring up road tripping. Is like athletes have a lot of downtime that they need to fill.
We did it all the time. We had someone who'd bring an Xbox 360 on road trips.
Yeah. Like, you have a lot of time with the boys. You got to fill it. What else to do?
My
other
personal
than
time with the boys was spent watching
Work.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Big Bruce and culturing myself.
Yeah, well, see, most people's options are limited to circle jerk on the back of the bus, or play Xbox 360 with the boys. So
yeah, well, I mean, this is not to say that. So like when we go on road trips,
those are not mutually exclusive.
When we would go on road trips, they would have the most new coach go do the night check at 10 o'clock to check, make sure everyone's in their room and ready to go to sleep like good boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely didn't backfire sometimes when like teammates would sit there with just their helmets on, nothing else in their playbooks on the end of their bed, waiting for him to open the door at 10 o'clock.
I will say there's a interesting connection between the best athletes and gaming. Maybe they're gaming and playing and practicing as opposed to getting women and going to the clubs.
Are they playing the game of their own sport though? They're coming home from
LeBron does.
LeBron plays a lot of 2K.
NBA is full of 2K
I was going to say Ben Simmons plays 2K, but Ben Simmons doesn't play basketball anymore, so that doesn't really.
All right, fine. Yeah, there goes my theory.
I was doing a little bit of digging into I just wanted to refresh my memory a little bit and kind of contextualize the history of sports gaming as a whole before recording today, and
it peaked at NBA Jam, and everything after it was trash.
So there's a whole lot of shit that it goes
NFL
all the way.
Street.
It goes all the way
the
back.
Atari had sports games.
It goes back. It goes back. That's what I was just gonna say. People consider Pong to be the first sports game.
It's tennis.
Yeah. And
it's sugar. That's what that reminds me of.
Aspartame is good for you.
It is, man. Don't take away my DCs.
No, that's the FDA. Was like, no, aspartame's fine.
But what wasn't fine were all the Pong clones that basically killed it for a while.
Well, yeah, because there was that was right before the whole gaming crash, because they were making so much trash.
But then arcades brought it back. What surprised me, although it was kind of foreshadowing for what we see happening with our current, mega sports franchises. A lot of the big ones in those arcade, in the arcade resurgence, were Olympic tie-in games. They would do these track and field things, because it's all about licensing. It's all about who's trying to sell the license and who has access.
A core memory here for people who were raised in the 90s. Do you remember every computer came with the little man skiing down the slope, being chased by the Yeti game built in?
Vaguely.
That's a sports game. That's skiing, right?
Definitely.
Backyard baseball. Anyone?
Oh, hell yeah.
That was a Flash game.
What was
right?
his name?
Pablo.
Pablo
Sanchez.
Pablo Sanchez.
Pablo Sanchez. I don't know. I had a disc for it. I don't think it was a Flash.
Yeah, there was PC optical disc games back then. I had Freddy Fish.
Yeah, I had I think backyard football as well.
Yeah, I think they did backyard for most sports.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
There's backyard soccer as well.
Yeah, they had license agreements with most of the major sports leagues.
Those types of games will never come back, though. We'll never be allowed to have fun like that again.
No, never.
You mentioned
MLB
NFL
Slugfest.
Another absolute goat.
Oh.
We will never have anything like that. That was prime.
Christian Mom's already got that band.
Or NBA Street, or
yeah, but none of those compared to being a horse charging the mound
on fire, on
fire, fucking wailing on the pitcher.
That game, I developed a strategy for that game, and it was get a man on first, and then you bunt, and you go to the guy who's running to second. You have him steal, you bunt, and he punches the second baseman as he gets to second. Unstoppable. Score like 20 runs an inning. It keeps going, keeps going.
See, my main thing was to intentionally hit a batter as a pitcher and have him charge the mound and win the fight and
the fight
and turn on fire and just throw absolute heat.
Yeah,
literally.
Gas.
But yeah, I loved the street games. I loved NBA and NFL Street.
NFL.
Those were so good. The exhibit one was that NFL Street too.
Yes.
I remember
the cover characters were Exhibit and Jeremy Shockey.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's oh
I remember
the dichotomy of
football.
Man.
Yeah. I won't dox him, but running back Dan did the figure eight celebration going into the end zone.
Home sports gaming, had an interesting history, but too much to get into. But like one of the first successful ones was Mattel's Intellivision World Series Baseball that like made some big improvements with like camera angles that mimicked a actual sports broadcast.
Do you remember back in the 90s when you get all those little shitty battery powered handhelds?
Yeah.
That were just like a gray and green screen.
Like your game.
I had so many like shitty football games gifted to me every Christmas.
Yeah, I had one.
Probably some version of Tecmo Bowl. The first official NFL licensed football
Tecmo
game.
Bowl, no Barry Sanders.
One of my favorite early sports games. Well, not super early, but Ken Griffey Jr. had a baseball game that he was the cover athlete for, but he was the only licensed MLB player in the game. So it was just Ken Griffey Jr. and then everyone else was just made up.
Just faceless mobs.
That's fantastic.
I mean,
fake names.
I feel like the farther I get away from some sports, when I hear about the people being drafted, like hockey in particular, it does start to feel like the 2K randomly generated rookies. When you
it happened in every sports game career mode. If you go so far,
once you simulate out
future,
like 5 years, you just get like Johnson Man Guy.
It's such it would be such an interesting time to go back to all those competitions between who's going to get like the go-to officially named licensed game, because we have the first Madden football, which was a redesign of John Madden football, competing with Joe Montana football.
I think you mean Montana.
Yeah.
Whenever I picture John Madden, I can only think of Frank Caliendo on Mad TV doing John Madden impressions. So Frank Caliendo is John Madden in my head canon.
So EA had only expected to sell like 75,000 copies of that first Madden football in 1990, but sold 400K instead, and then a year later forms the EA Sports label that we know today. You get
the EA Sports label that is going away, right? If I remember reading correctly.
No, isn't EA Sports one of the ones that's staying?
Yeah, it's being spun off. It's a separate thing now.
There's like another one that got or it's like EA Originals or something is going away. I'm pretty sure Sports is one of the ones that's staying. I mean, that's what makes them that's what prints the money for them.
Well, yeah, how else are you supposed to hit copy, paste, update roster?
Yeah.
1993 saw the first FIFA for the Sega Mega Drive. Became the best-selling home video game in the UK for that year.
Shocker.
I mean, the UK loves them some FIFA, and what's the other one they play? PES.
Yeah.
Yep. So Europe just loves their footy. So there's FIFA competing with with I have it written here somewhere. Yeah, Konami's Pro Evolution Soccer.
Yeah,
They
PES.
that like it took until like 2010, the 2010s for FIFA to really kind of widen the gap between the two. And it's like it's been cited as like the greatest competition or the greatest rivalry in sports gaming history. Is
Well,
FIFA
it makes
versus
sense that they
PES.
widened it because by 2010, Konami was like, I don't really care about video games anymore. Pachinko machines are way better money.
Well, not even that. I was gonna say, and this was prior to realizing, the competition between these two games, that I feel that around 2010, because of the World Cup at that time, and the World Cup
America
tie-in
actually
game,
started caring.
exactly.
Mhm.
And
I feel like I
you know,
remember the first World Cup America caring about was like 2006 or something like that.
where
'Cause
Italy
it was like
was there.
Italy.
But that's too
Yeah,
early.
but
That's before the internet, so that's too
exactly,
early.
exactly.
I just
And
remember the
here,
buzz about it being a bit
but
different.
And
but
by the internet, I mean before social media.
Here's my thing there. You grew up in the Northeast where there's a lot of Italians. The rest of America didn't care because they're Italiaphobes. But the Northeast, there's so many
Rightfully
Italians who just cared so much. I remember that day, like it was beautiful when we won.
Because
And
I think we were in Old Orchard Beach on like a vacation at the time, and just every beach store had a Italia sweatshirt or a shirt that you could purchase.
I was at my dad's most Italian American friend's house. And like as an Italian American, I'm telling you, like he might as well be Super Mario. Like just
He's John Leguizamo.
So he's Chris
Mario
Pratt?
Bros.
2004 saw EA start its string of licensing deals for exclusive rights to several prominent sports organizations, beginning with the NFL, but like they like truly cemented their stranglehold on football, on American football in 2008 by granting AFL, ESPN. They got NCAA. Yeah, that was in 2005 actually, so that was even before that. But it's like this is I guess a good enough time to like segue into it's like how are these companies like allowed to exist and allowed to dominate such a central kind of tentpole at least financially of the gaming sphere, right? Because FIFA still is like the highest earning video game like out there.
Well, is it not called FIFA anymore?
Now it's EAFC Club 2024.
Yeah.
Which did you guys see? Did you guys see the bit that I sent yesterday? This is also another thing about like the licensing shit that's going on. They released their cover image for like the collector's edition for that, and the graphics for the players are absolutely grotesque.
It's terrible.
It's horrible, and their excuse is like, you don't understand the licensing rigmarole that we have to go through to get all these likenesses.
It's like one of the things we contribute, bless up to Johnny Football, is that Johnny Football is the reason that there are no more NCAA sports games
till next year.
Yeah, theoretically.
What explain that again? Because
so
I am definitely
I don't know if you
enjoyer.
remember the Johnny Football mania when he was in college, and just how built up he was as a Heisman winner, and he was Mr. America. So
he went to the Browns.
Yeah, well, that's and whole other. He was in Canada for a little bit, but NCAA sports, the games did not pay licensing to use likenesses, so you wouldn't be playing as Johnny Manziel.
All of the NCAA is just criminal. Not even the video game shit. That's just criminal.
Yeah,
exactly.
Correct. You would just be playing as number 2 on Texas A&M, and he would just happen to look exactly like Johnny Manziel and play exactly like Johnny Manziel. And it was Johnny Manziel and Robert Griffin III were the two who
they had been sent to the Kojima soul stealing machine, and the souls were now the property of the NCAA. They hold their likenesses forever in perpetuity, all like Hollywood's trying to do to your favorite actors, is to create an AI image of them and own them for for eternity.
Literally what the NCAA does.
I mean, they don't even need that part because they used to have a thing where you could build your own team, and it was very popular at the time to just build your like high school team.
People
or your
love
college team
management sims, like absolute sicko status.
Because like I had a teammate
they don't
who built our
they
whole.
They don't have the power fantasy of being like the actual superstar player. They want to be the general manager.
Yeah, they want to be the GM.
Jail, straight to jail.
It's like I had a teammate who built our entire college roster and like scaled it in ways. He was like, it was like Kyle, one of the DNs, had like a 99 spin move because it was the only thing he was good at.
Dude's like changing stats after every game.
I mean, I had a teammate who I played in 2K who he was dog water. He was awful at games. And when I went to the bathroom, he changed all the sliders to 99 on his team. And he was playing as the Celtics with Rajon Rondo and was draining 35-foot step backs with Rondo. And I was losing my fucking mind because I couldn't understand what was going on. I was so mad. Tangent over.
So football was, locked down. EA has had control of that for
no one else has even tried.
20 years now. Sega used to have the ESPN license, but they got bullied out of that. They got nothing.
And 2K had a NFL license, but they lost that as well.
Well, so like Take-Two, the people who own 2K, they're the other major players, right? So they responded to all those NFL deals by first contacting the MLB, signing a deal with the Major League Baseball Players Association. They got an exclusive third-party license. Not as restrictive of a deal, though. Still allowing basically the MLB to make their own games if they so chose. NBA was kind of a similar process. They were approached by several developers, but they decided not to join an exclusivity deal, giving long-term licenses to EA, Take-Two, Midway Games, Sony, and Atari. But as of now, it's just currently dominated by EA and 2K Sports. EA has franchises including Madden, NHL, FIFA, which is now the football club thing after notoriously most corrupt organization in the world. FIFA tried to extort like at least $1 billion.
Yeah, it was an insane number.
And the worst person does exactly what you'd expect them to.
Yeah.
And the thing about that was so silly because FIFA really overplayed their hand in that EA had individual licensing deals with all of the major football leagues. So it's just the FIFA tournaments that matter.
It was really like, so they had all like the Premier League teams. Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's a done deal. Everyone's going there. 2K. Well, so actually EA does hold the NBA Live series.
They haven't made that in a while
anymore.
Yeah, and then 2K just has NBA and WWE 2K, and they just put out a golf game. Did they put out a
2K golf?
Yeah, 2K has a golf, brought their golf series back. They
I'll be shocked if it's not bought by Live Tour.
Yeah, the EA one, which came out the 2K golf game came out in the fall of 2022. EA's came out spring 23. EA's is a significantly better game. It plays better, it looks better, it's more fun.
They had more courses, right? They had
way more licensed courses, more licensed players. The only thing
the only golf game I need is Mario Golf on the Nintendo GameCube.
Hell yeah. Let's not forget in this discussion Wii Sports, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Probably
the world by
single
storm.
most bought individual title of any of these.
Nintendo, the real goat here.
Yeah,
that's always.
Which company has the UFC? Is that EA?
Yes, EA
Yeah.
makes the UFC games.
And 2K is the WWE.
Yeah.
Who made
UFC game.
Who made the new AEW game? The new
That's
AEW wrestling game.
that's a smaller studio. I've heard good things about it though.
I've heard terrible things about the video game.
Oh, really? Interesting. I read it. There was a review by someone who like purposely
Okay,
focuses on.
I'm pretty sure it's published by THQ Nordic. So there you
Okay,
go.
there it is. There
There
it
you go.
is.
There you go.
Originally of Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
Which is also falls under the banner of sports game.
Absolutely.
The success of Tony Hawk, the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1999, really like cemented
huge amount of
cementing extreme sports, as like
because then you get like SSX Tricky, you'd get
there were some snowboarding games I think before it that were pretty successful, but it like truly made
SSX was more arcadey, which
I mean, so yeah, I mean, Tony Hawk is the arcade.
Yeah. Arcadey sports games were my preference over like
simulation.
Full sim.
Yeah.
And SSX Tricky had like a board or something that you could get with it as well. I remember playing like on the GameCube, not on the Wii, or maybe on the PlayStation 2.
You were actually standing on a board
on a board.
I do remember that one.
Yes. Those are all.
I mean, there's still snowboarding games like Steep. I guess people enjoy.
There was Skate 3 on what was that, Xbox 360 and PS3.
There's the new live service Skate that's coming out.
No, that's just gonna be like Fortnite Skate.
No, the only skating game I'm playing is Skate Story, and that's that.
That is.
I'm a demon, and I'm only made of glass and pain, but I must skate.
The Tony Hawk Pro Skater is another one that not only did it cement extreme sports and kind of the popular zeitgeist, but it was another unexpected success financially. I saw this video of Tony Hawk saying how he went to his like first meetup after they released the game with the developer or whatever.
Activision.
And Activision was going to give him a check.
Neversoft, right? That was the primary developer.
Yeah, and Activision was going to give him a check, and he was expecting, like maybe $100,000 or so, and the check was for like $4 million.
Yeah, here's a comically large check for $4 million.
Yeah.
Other thing about
the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games also radicalized a lot of people in their music tastes.
Literally what I was just going to talk about was the music, and not only Tony Hawk, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, but just like sports games in general, because they put actual music in it. Like I was thinking of other games that may have like like pop culture music in it, and the only other one that I play that I could think of is Forza, and they have like radio stations in there, but it's all like copyright free type music, or like music that Forza made.
Meanwhile, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 will hit you with some Radiohead. You'll get some Deltron the Funky Homo Sapien.
Yeah,
classics.
Great soundtracks.
Blink 182.
Need for Speed had some good soundtracks as well back in the day. Or no, was it Need for Speed?
Yeah, I can't. Need for Speed had good music.
There's another one too. Midnight Club.
Yeah, Midnight Club. That was it.
That had dope music.
The one
I think I've never played GTA 5, but from what I've heard, the GTA 5 radio is pretty good.
Yeah,
and there's like an ASAP Rocky song that bumps pretty well.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one has some actual music in it too. And for me, I don't know if this resonates for anyone else, but whenever I hear Jets, "Are You Gonna Be My Girl?" I just get transported back to Madden 04 doing the running back drill. That is a meme online, but that song in particular just made right back there immediately.
Madden 04 was
computer.
That was Mike Vick on the cover.
Yeah.
That was the one I had.
Aged like a fine 2% milk.
and he was unstoppable in that game.
Yeah, he was.
Legitimately, you would just run backwards with him until you got the defense in a single line, and then you would just run around them. It was stupid.
And then go to a dogfight.
Yeah, in your my career mode as dog,
there's a dog fighting arc.
Yeah.
What was it?
That's what you do in your downtime.
Yeah, a lot of
one of the
drinking and
Yakuza
dogfighting.
games has a cockfighting Street Fighter mode.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's funny.
Someone already like kind of joked about this, made a bit out of it, but like sports games like have this kind of they have this, you know, kind of idyllic place in so much of our memories for all these kind of classic games that really cemented their status, for the kind of friendship and community building aspects that we were able to use it through the you know, that's one of the great things about sport, is its ability to bring people together. But it is also such a toxic
About crushing your opponent.
Well, but in different manner, I'm saying like the model of our sports games is such a toxic development practice, commercial production, consumer practice. Right?
Oh man, I really love buying the same game the next year and having them take away gameplay modes, and all they do is update a roster.
Yeah, like, it is extractive at every level to the maximum.
When sports games are like, they should be the epitome of games as a service, and I hate that term.
You're right.
They should literally just be, you pay for a license and then you can like get an updated roster. Maybe every couple of years you have to pay for an expansion or something like that. Treat it like a fucking MMO.
To do a graphical overhaul.
Yeah.
It's like, if I was gonna say, if anything, yeah, it should just be like, yeah, maybe a new game comes out every 4 years or something, and in the intervening time,
yeah, when you actually change something,
in the intervening time, it's just roster updates, because you get the new version of the game anyways, and after like the real world, you know, sports seasons are ongoing, the rosters change anyways. Like, you know, you already get that. It's, but like, yeah, there's just such a lack.
Well, there's
of
other predatory stuff
on.
like not carrying over your like my career characters or your ultimate team cards. Or
if we're talking about predatory, you got to talk about FUT packs. These games are
ultimate team card packs.
Yeah, are just absolute microtransaction minefields. It's just,
I'm pretty sure I watched my college roommate spend like almost thousands of dollars on Madden Ultimate Team.
People spend so much
looks
fucking
at
money.
Andrew and his 2K career mode over the past 5 years.
Yeah, I don't want to do the math. I don't want to do the math.
Well, yeah, because they intentionally nerf the my career so that you start out so shitty that you either have to grind it intentionally to make you want to pay for it. Like, that was the whole point of that, because you used to be able to start out my career as a pretty damn good player.
Well, so what they did is, and they've done this with pretty much all of, well, no, this is more specific to 2K at this point, actually, but what they did is they made it wholly online. So you can't play the My Career offline. And because it's wholly online, everyone has to earn or pay to make their character better so that it's balanced or whatever. Whereas prior to that,
why? It's not like you're playing. It's not like you're playing somebody else through my career mode.
Well, that you are now, because the online mode. What they've now focused on for the online My Career is like PvP, what they call it is what they call the neighborhood, and it's all PvP stuff in there, and then you can go in and do the regular season individual stuff as well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my peak memories of My Career are like 2K13, getting drafted like second overall, and immediately starting and immediately being a good player, and not having to deal with like, oh, I get 10 minutes of fucking playing time a game, and if I miss a pass, I don't get to come in for the rest of it.
Yeah.
My favorite was 2K13. If you ended 3 games while you were losing in the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes left, or or like the equivalent, whatever, something like that, with a certain amount of time left, it would like cause this glitch where you could just accrue negative points. So you do that your like first 3 games, and then you could just make your player 99 and everything.
That was a good hack.
We love quality exploits.
Yeah,
my career player brought more championships to the Toronto Raptors than Kawhi Leonard ever did.
Yeah. So
I also ousted DeMar DeRozan.
But these games just fucking print money, and
Oh,
it's everybody knows and complains about how bad and predatory and extractive they are, but
and then buys the game.
doesn't stop them from participating.
I sent Andrew a meme the other day of it was the Mr. Krabs by the He Was Number One Schmitty Warben Jaegerman Jensen grave. Am I about to defile this grave?
Yeah.
But it was Kobe Bryant on the grave because they're doing putting him on the cover.
Putting him on the cover.
Year.
Am I about to defile this memory for money? Of course I am.
Yeah, I don't know if those player contracts, like the union agreements, cover your likeness after death.
They do.
They do. All right.
But does the estate get paid that, or does just
I'm sure Vanessa will get paid that.
That would depend, because normally you can't, an estate really can't claim someone's likeness. Your likeness is only through your life, unless it's a commercial likeness, and that's why Kobe's getting a commercial likeness. I don't know if that would pass to his estate or not. It would depend. It all depends on the agreements. At the end of the day, fucking, you could agree. You could negotiate away anything. Your soul, literally your soul. Once they figure out how to extract that, they'll be asking for it. So
they're going to take it. They're going to put you.
I'm going to be able to play as the
VR chamber, and you're going to be able to torture them for eternity.
I'm going to be able to play as the 90s Dream Team forever and always, even well after they've gone
they've all gone to the farm.
Yeah.
So what has been everybody's, I guess, personal favorites, and we can start with more like the more generic major franchises and leagues, and go to the more obscure, move out from there. But like, what was everybody's like go-to sport game at like whatever point in time?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I started with probably like the Tony Hawk and Madden. Like those 2 games were probably my favorite games for a long time. And then I moved to FIFA for a couple of years, and then I got into 2K, and 2K has definitely been the center of my sports gaming world for a decade now. And there's others that I'll play, but that's definitely for me the top. It's the power fantasy. And I would say the thing I can't do at all.
So it's like, what about the particular franchise is like what makes it better in your mind?
I think that the gameplay, I think basketball really suits well for a video game. Personally, it's a exciting, constant
less
action.
People, smaller court.
Yeah, less people,
better
smaller
angles.
Court. And then like I was saying, the power fantasy, like basketball is the sport that I am probably like one of the worst sports I'm at for me. I just am terrible at shooting a basketball. So the power fantasy of being good at that and being tall and dunking is something that can't be matched.
For preparation for this episode, I played some 2K and played some with Andrew, and it's like my experience coming from playing like the 2Ks in college and stuff to what they have now, it's like they've traded realism, or they've traded fun for realism. It's like more realistic and more sim heavy now, but they've gotten rid of so much of the flair, so much of the fun, like,
and there's so much uncanny valley.
Oh, of course, that's always going to happen. But
it's getting like really, really bad now.
yeah, I think the graphics have gotten progressively worse. Although again,
Agreed.
we always like to
sugarcoat
our past and like think that PS2 looked like the PS4 type shit. I'm constantly baffled.
No, but I think like PS4 2K, like the 2K, 11 through 15, maybe 16. Those had some like solid graphics that it looked realistic, but it wasn't uncanny. Like it wasn't terrifying me and giving me nightmares while I was playing, because
2K Zion Williamson can't see you. 2K Zion Williamson can't eat you.
Yeah.
But like,
no, I would agree.
They made the game. It's like it's hard to dunk the ball. It's hard to actually dunk the basketball. And
I think that was the thing that broke me off of the last 2K I played. I was like, I made my character, and he was like a 6'8" small forward, and he couldn't dunk on fast breaks, and I was like, that is literally not possible.
They make it like really, really hard, and the dunks are not flashy or cool, whatever. I remember playing those games in college.
You would be playing as like Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose, just jumping over like everyone. 7-footers in the lane.
Yeah, it was
what they did for fun.
There was they had the better blend of sim and arcade. They had enough of those arcade feels to it that it felt like you were playing a somewhat toned down version of like NBA Street. That you could do cool shit. You could do cool shit while still playing real, quote unquote, real basketball.
It's gotten so sim-like that I was playing with Andrew and on the newest one. And at first I thought this was cool because on an excellent 3-pointer, it would do a cutscene. It would do like as if, you're watching it on fucking ESPN, and it's like, guaranteed, or not even like live. It'd be like on the
oh my
replay.
God, it's
like
the Sprite Slam Cam all over again.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
but during gameplay,
during gameplay, they're doing it on layups on fast breaks.
Bro,
so like I
remember you'd be playing with someone and you would
scene.
need both people to accept to skip the cutscene. You'd be like, yo, skip this. I don't need to see you scoring again.
But dude, that was like a cutscene afterwards. This is mid gameplay. Like the shot is just released, and immediately it goes to this cutscene because it knows it's going to be perfect. So it completely like stops the flow of the game to do this cutscene, and it did it on fucking layups too. It was fucking nuts. I almost threw the fucking controller.
Weak. Yeah, it was not. I'm not a fan of that addition.
We also haven't discussed the actual part of these games, which is they're also just like a marketing like gimmick to get you to buy products, like the Sprite Slam Cam.
Can't wait till the true integration where it's just advertising for like DraftKings, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's coming. Yeah,
let's say it's coming. Every sports league. Yes, every sports league like has
a you cannot watch a football game without getting hundreds of gambling ads. You can't watch a basketball game without in game. They will, when they're shooting free throws, make the free throw shooting part like a third of the screen, and then have 2/3 of the screen be a DraftKings ad talking about vote now because who's going to score the next points? Is it going to be Julius Randle or is it going to be
sign up and get $100 free?
It's astounding. It's astounding that it hasn't gone the other way, right? That again, with how predatory gaming is and how extractive that is, that they haven't had that relationship first, and weren't pushing it towards the mainstream. That it's like, but would not go flowing the other way.
Not happening.
I mean, but if you're gambling on real sports, then you might not be gambling on loot boxes.
Okay,
I would actually go as far as saying that you're gambling on real sports, your brain might be wired the same way to gamble on loot boxes.
That's also true. It could go either way.
You can only milk the cow so dry.
Yeah.
Or what about you other two though? About your either formative sports game, and what would be if you had to pick one now for those of us who don't actively play them, like Andrew does. What
as a child? For me, the three that stood as a child were Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, SSX Tricky, and then SSX3.
SSX3.
You were an extreme gamer.
I was really not into at that point in time like Madden, because I played football enough. I didn't need to play football in video games. And particularly because Madden doesn't let you play the positions I played in any fun or engaging way. It's like playing D-line in Madden is a shitty, like, oh, I'm just going to run forward and get blocked, because even if I'm playing as fucking Warren Sapp, I can't,
I mean, it's like a timing
Can't do
game.
anything fun.
But then college,
current era.
In college, played pretty much primarily only 2K, again, because I still hated Madden, couldn't stand playing football as a video game. 2K, obviously, you know, football players love to pretend they're basketball players. It's like the circle of life.
That is, yeah.
Because football players get paid the worst and for the most physical cost. So it's like fantasizing is like, yeah, can I actually,
and they just
make
have the least
millions
raise.
of dollars.
And it's like
basketball players
you
have
will
much
always
more
find
raise.
football players playing pickup basketball somewhere, and you can tell it's football players because they're absolutely decking each other for rebounds.
They're just beefier.
But generally speaking, I don't really enjoy sports games that much anymore. Like I said, I prefer the arcadey style, and they just don't really make them that way. And it's like Wii Sports was cool. I enjoyed that. Switch Sports hasn't really like hit me the same way. It's like modern like 2K really just like makes me sick. It's like 190 gigabytes of space, and
as soon as we're done with this episode, I'm deleting it off my phone.
Yeah, it's like 190 gigabytes of space. There's just like so much grind like built into it now to make you want to pay
so much.
Like I bought a couple of years ago, I bought the Kobe Bryant Memorial Edition, and it's hilarious. They're doing another one only a couple years later because it's 24, and that's, you know, Kobe's number.
The good Kobe.
Yeah, the good Kobe.
Yeah, the one with the unblockable fadeaway. Not the one who was in Colorado in 2003.
yeah, that's a different guy.
But like when I bought that edition, they gave me a whole bunch of like free credit because I paid like 10 extra bucks for the Kobe edition. And it's like all those free credits. I was like, oh, I see exactly what this is now. This is just like, oh, you can make your character slightly less shitty, so you get a taste, a pinch of what it's like to play like a normal My Career mode.
I'm just imagining that they must either have a consultant or an in-staff position that's like a psychologist. That's like, you know, that's say studies, you know, like say like gambling addiction. And it's like someone who's they got them they're a black hat psychologist.
They probably literally just hired a fucking Vegas casino designer.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they got my brain for sure.
It's so bad, man. And it's like that's why I was interested in talking about these games, right? It's like there is this dichotomy of like, you know, positive you know, relationship building potential for these games, but then
but they saw that and they're like, well, we're going to get these people hooked on that, and then we're just going to slowly bleed them dry until there's nothing left but a husk. And even the couch co-op nature of these games is slowly becoming harder and harder to like,
because what they're trying to do and making them so much, you know, less arcade like and more simulation like is they're just getting ready to zorp us in to the games and have us, you know, that be our entertainment, that be the money.
Well, that's even like there's two Forzas. There's Motorsports and Horizon. And Motorsports is simmy and Horizon is arcadey. Yep. I've always found that Horizon's looks so much better. Then
it's like, so much better.
And
like there's this whole like scene of like iSim racing or something like that where people will spend thousands of dollars building racing rigs to race virtually. And it's like at a certain point you could just get in a car at that price and just go for a regular drive. Like
It's like the people who spend 10 grand on a truck
Flight sim.
simulator
Or a truck.
or a flight sim.
Yeah.
Any of those
Yeah.
simulators, it's like, go get a pilot's
You're getting
license
the danger.
go
like
get,
you
get
could
your
legitimately go learn
CDL.
to fly
Or say, or like go get your CDL and drive
like get
a long
paid
haul.
to do this.
Yeah, drive a long haul. Like, what the fuck?
But I think the push to more sim realism is a purposeful one to align with like it makes the grind
4K
more
graphics.
it makes the grind more necessary, because if it's arcadey, like what's the like why like make everyone just fantastically good and insane and it doesn't matter. But when it's sim and more realistic, it has to be that grind becomes necessary.
Spectacle. It's not really about
Right.
I don't know,
spectacle.
man. For me, watching those characters in SSX Tricky take their snowboard off mid jump
Yes,
and
hell
play
yeah.
it like an air guitar and then
Hell
re-snap
yeah.
it back onto their feet, way more fun than watching a guy just do like a tail grab.
For sure. I don't disagree.
This is why I have trouble watching the regular Winter Olympics.
I don't know, man. They're getting pretty crazy.
Yeah, but they're not doing the there's one guy in particular, I remember he'd like take his board off and he would just start like paddling it and spinning it in the
I
air.
remember that move. I remember that move. He's doing it like the minimum wage employee out in front of
yes,
like
the side spinner.
big lots.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, how about you?
So my tastes were more like Matt's growing up. I played SSX Tricky, Tony Hawk Pro
I feel
Skater
like you might have
3.
had like Cabela's Hunter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Of course.
Yes, I definitely
that came
had
with the
those.
gun
I
for
forgot
free.
about those.
He was a true sportsman. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I completely
You
forgot
bought
about
the
those.
game
Big
and you
game
got
hunt.
and you got a shotgun with like a real shotgun.
My dad
with it.
A real
That was
Cabela's.
yeah, that was the add-on. The
Yeah.
gun was
I
the add-on.
completely forgot about those. I 100% played those growing up.
Those are sports games.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot. But yes, definitely played those. SSX Tricky, Pro Skater 3. Another one was MX versus ATV.
I remember that one.
Which I was a big fan of. I put a lot of hours
That's
into
a
that
good pull.
game.
You remember when it was like there was this like brief period of time where it was like random extreme sports person name and then just the game because it was like Kelly Slater's surfing.
Kelly Slater Pro Surfing.
Yeah.
Sean White had a snowboarding game.
Great games. The MX series, like all the ATV and
I feel like I never
owned
those games. I only ever like played those at like somebody else's house.
I definitely got it at like the
Never
$5 Walmart
the bin. Oh, absolutely.
It was like the greatest hits edition or something, for sure. That's how I got it. But yeah, that's why I played a lot of like the NFL street games, but at friends' houses. Otherwise didn't play many, like never played Madden on my own or anything like that. It wasn't until college, or probably end of high school playing FIFA at your house, Ben. And like the sports games that we would play when we would hang out.
Yeah, we used to play
really,
NHL to establish draft order for fantasy football.
Yeah. Yeah, playing games.
What
NHL,
a completely
2K,
arbitrary and
whatever.
bullshit way to establish draft order.
It really was.
But because it was the game that we all played together.
You have the top pick.
It is the game that we played together. And low key, I think Ben just thought he was all better at us than NHL and was trying to get that top pick. Because you were the better one at that time.
I was better at that, and I did often get or at least close to top.
The autism clicked on that game, and you were able to just
Roberto Luongo
shots.
I learned
I had an unblockable
shot from NHL than I did from actually like watching any hockey.
Oh,
absolutely.
All sports I learned mostly from video games. But yeah, so that was mine. I never really played, like I said, outside of playing it, I definitely did a FIFA my career mode and the broken 2K in college that one year. But
I remember
really,
playing like an
sports
arena
games
football game at one point that was pretty cool.
There was an arena football game.
That would be arcadey and fun.
Yeah. Because arena football's arcadey in real life.
Yeah. Just decking people over a wall
on a 60-yard field.
No, but I definitely miss like the MX games. I had a lot of fun just like pulling tricks on fucking dirt bikes and
yeah, but you see the
ATVs
woke
and
agenda
shit.
won't let us show dangerous sports and games now.
Can't be shredding.
What's it called? It's Always Sunny just did an episode about that where it was like they went to Risky Rats, which was their like version of Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a great
So
episode.
good.
Like they were coping with the fact that Risky Rats had like changed its identity since they were children, and like they were all like safety oriented now and like politically
like,
correct instead of like Dingbat Duck or
use like RodneyRatsPizza.com or something.
it was
like that.
yeah, Robbie Pizza, Robbie Rat Pizza, and like Dapper Duck.
Perfect diction.
So the reason why I was better at NHL was because that
Autism.
was that yes, but like
That
that
where he
was
tells us he's Canadian.
so that was like the main game that my college friends and I played. Because those were the years that we mostly did fantasy football, was in college. That's largely what we played. We played 2K. I had like a couple or at least one friend in particular who was a fellow FIFA player, but NHL was the main draw. But yeah, somewhat similar to Mike. I never like played Madden on my own. I never owned a Madden game. I don't think I've ever paid for a Madden game. The only Madden game I ever owned was Madden 14, which I believe Andrew gave to me when Madden 15 came out.
Is that the one that had Calvin Johnson on the cover?
I
think so.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure
it was
lived
a Detroit
in
player.
the Upper West
that's
Side.
Calvin
What
Johnson.
game were you playing?
I think it was that one.
That one.
I think it was that one.
I thought it was newer than that.
If I did, I played Andrews.
Yeah, I think you played my 15.
But yeah, no, I never owned one. He like when Andrew got the new one, because like our favorite thing to do was to do a my career on in Madden as a quarterback and be the biggest fattest dude possible.
Absolutely.
Jared Lorenzen
and to then lead the league in rushing yards.
Yes.
That was our favorite thing to do.
I mean, one of my favorite things from 2K was just you could draft a full team. Like you would take the entire league and you would just break them up into just players again. You could like draft a coach and draft a full team out of it and then just sim out the season. It was like we discovered quickly it was like whoever drafted Paul George was going to be the best team in like 6 years because 2K's Paul George projection was just like a 99 overall by his third year in the league.
So I grew up playing things in the likes of my major ones were like the MLB Slugfest, the NFL and NBA Street games.
I forgot about Slugfest.
I played NFL and NBA Street to death on my PS2. I loved those games. They were so and the exhibit one was perfect timing, perfect branding, because it was right at the height of Pimp My Car, Pimp My Ride, yeah. And it's just like was
my car.
Yeah, you really are a boomer.
I mean, could you imagine exhibit staying to the title screen? Welcome to Pimp My Car.
Yeah,
is exhibit problematic now?
Probably, but I do remember all of that. That was like everything. If you turned on MTV, that's all you would see.
That's all you needed. It was that and Cribs and music videos for Korn
and the Andy Milonakis show.
So like that is like predominantly what I played. I don't know that I owned any of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. I did not. So I played pretty much all those games that you guys mentioned, like at somebody else's house. I don't think I owned those. But I absolutely owned the Street games. Those were I owned both of those and the different versions of them, like the sequels, and loved those games. They were so much fun. I loved the wall moves on NBA Street
Yes.
2.
Yes.
Those were so
Oh, yeah.
satisfying to do, like a wall juke or like a wall hurdle. Wall tackles were fun. You know, there's so much good shit. But in terms of the kind of current mainline sports games, like I said, I played a lot of NHL and 2K in college, but for me, besides being the worst in terms of its monetization practices, in my mind, FIFA remains the best game. Like, surprisingly, I never played an NHL My Pro mode. I never did a career mode in an NHL.
Well, yeah, because everyone knows that when you do a My Career in the NHL, you have to start as an 8-year-old in Borscht, Russia, or
Yeah.
And it's also it's a similar thing to, I mean, it's in a lot of ways it's worse than basketball, where it's like it's such a choppy experience because like you play for a minute of game time
yeah,
and then you get subbed
you're in
out
with
and
a
then subbed
line.
back in, and
And you're
it's
in like
constantly
weird
moving.
leagues at first. You don't go straight to the NHL sometimes.
Yeah.
I think.
So like I never played any of those. But like
I mean, in the current 2K, you can absolutely be bad enough in your one game before getting drafted
your
that you get
exhibition game
that you go like undrafted or get like late second round pick.
You get sent to the Ukraine to play in some minor league.
Lithuania.
But like
Playing Lithuania.
We never talked. No one's ever talked about MLB The Show either. Like
baseball isn't a real sport.
I enjoyed my career
They're fun.
modes in MLB. The pitching career was fun. Being a fielder, or like I think I was I don't know if I was if I did a shortstop.
Little DJ action.
I forget.
It is a documented thing though that like baseball is losing viewership and fandom,
in my opinion,
compared to the other sports leagues which are growing.
Because it takes fucking forever for a game.
They've already fixed that in a way. My buddy was saying that baseball games are like 2.5 hours max now.
Okay.
I don't know how you manage that.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there is a pitching clock. I do know that.
No, it's like I enjoyed those career modes, but like in terms of a single player experience, FIFA remains the best. My career mode is the most satisfying. It is you can start out as like a 70 or a 60 something and score 3 goals a game, and because all you have to do is score like a goal a game, because soccer, scoring a goal is fucking huge.
And soccer is also, because the field is so big, there's so much more positioning involved, where if your character isn't fast enough, you can still put yourself in positions to be in the right spot.
Yeah, so it is like easier in a way to progress to the point where it then becomes a challenge.
When you become Mbappe.
Yeah, it like when you get to the higher leagues, it becomes more fun. But I always found it much more satisfying. You're getting more game time. You're getting a fuller game experience for each game that you play as the pro. Even the newer versions, like I think the last one I played was like last year's version.
I still think distinctly remembering the thing that turned me off in my last 2K My Player experience was having I think I had like Kemba Walker sealed off in the post as a 6'8" small forward, and I called for the ball, and my teammate grade went down because I called for the ball in a mismatch, and then I got benched, and I was like, oh well, this is too realistic,
because you're not playing real basketball. Yeah, it's just like that's been my big thing with so many of those games, is that it's trading the fun for realism. It's like
it's for the nerds.
But like people who play these games,
it's for the people who talk about sports with advanced stats only.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's these people who play these games like it's like their only game that they play. They love to hate this game. They get so angry at this game, yet
it's why 2K is 190 gigabytes. If you take up all of their storage,
can't play anything else.
Have anything else. It's
it's also
model.
But it's also like, the literal sunk cost fallacy of like, you've put a shit ton of money into it. So even though I
dedicated 47 hours of your internet time to downloading it.
Yeah, he's like it makes me hate the game and myself, but I've put too much in. I must keep playing.
Yeah, but
hopefully
also
it will
hating
get good
yourself
at
is
some
still a
point.
feeling. So
Yeah.
you're at least chasing that.
But I will continue to have fond memories of the of playing these games co-op with friends, you guys included, and it has a this kind of foundational status in gaming history that like they're obviously going nowhere, and they make so much fucking money also not going anywhere. Any final thoughts before we wrap up for today?
As extractive as they are, sports games will always have me.
You're the real sicko amongst us. That is known.
I mean, we all have our perversions and sick needs and wants.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Which we will dive into in future episodes as we continue to plumb the depths of gaming history in our own personal history with games. So I think that will do it for us today. Andrew's got to go catch a flight, so we will call it here. You folks, you can come catch us live at twitch.tv/campaign comrades or on our YouTube channel at campaign comrades. Follow us on Twitter at CampConPod while it still exists. You will not find us
on Threads.
So you will not find us on Threads.
Find us on MySpace.
On Blue Sky is
Make sure you watch us on whatever that fucking Xbox streaming platform that existed for 3 months was.
Mixer,
yeah, catch us on Mixer with Ninja.
All right. But till then, we will see you next time. I believe next week is probably news episode, I guess. Yeah, we're a little bit off kilter with that as well because of the
Board News Pod.
The timing. Yeah, okay. Well, we didn't do one last month, so there should be plenty to talk about. But that is where we will be next week. So we will see you then. Hopefully no major, say nothing else groundbreaking, earth-shattering news. Like basically the Activision deal is effectively done. And good chance that it's the deal is signed by the time we record next week. There's still one like final hiccup, but it's looking like the CMA is gonna deal. And basically our predictions have been proven out with that one. We knew that nothing was going to stand in their way. And basically it's the FTC as the stupid and boneheaded.
6 is that her current record in FTC cases?
I mean, just like we can get into it in that news episode, but it's just like they had the potential for a good case, right? But they just chose the absolute worst arguments, the stupidest route possible. So that means it's the most likely, right? That's how these things work. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in future episodes. But till then, we will see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.